1, 2, 3. I walked into my very first high school physics class, excited to finally be able to dig deep into core physics. I look around and I start to count the number of boys. 4, 5, and the number goes up to 20. And girls? 1, just 1. Now, slightly less excitedly, I take a seat next to the girl, and together we patiently waited for the rest of the class to arrive. We waited, and waited, and waited, until the end of class, only to realize that this was it. 2 girls and 20 guys. Hi. I'm Riti, and math and science are subjects I've always been passionate about. I discovered my love for robotics when I was only 9, and my parents totally got it. They bought me my very first Lego robotics kit, enrolled me in coding classes, and even signed me up for robotics competitions. High school physics, however, was a different story. On some days, lectures began with, "Lady and gentlemen." And just like that, I was only one woman in a room full of men, singled out before the lesson had even started. It was subtle, almost harmless, but it made me feel like an outsider in a space I had every right to belong to. Look around. We're in the UAE. Top schools, endless wealth, the city of the future. So if I, with all these privileges, felt this way, what about the millions of women in underprivileged situations? We already know that representation matters. We get the idea of what a scientist looks like from what we see in TV shows, movies, or even cartoons. And this starts at a young age. Let's try something. Call out the name of any science character from any TV show, movie, or cartoon. Professor X, Ross Geller, Dexter, Dr. Strange. Now, notice how none of these are women? I sat down for 1 hour trying to make a list of female science characters I watched growing up. Do you know how many I could come up with? 3. Doc McStuffins, Velma from Scooby-Doo, and Barbie. That's it. Out of the approximately 200 characters classified as scientists on Disney Wiki, only about 20 of them are women. And even fewer are in more than one episode or in a major motion picture. In fact, women are twice as likely to use magic to resolve problems in cartoons, whereas men are more likely to use STEM skills or physical power. What does this say about the role models young girls have growing up? Take the Scully effect, for example. Have any of you watched The X-Files? Yeah. Well, a single fictional character, Dana Scully from The X-Files, inspired 63% of women familiar with her role to pursue careers in science, medicine, and engineering. One role model changed the game. But what happens when there's no Scully? No role model to look up to? If all young girls see are men in lab coats solving the world's biggest problems, how are they supposed to believe that they can be the next great scientist? We already know that the situation isn't ideal in school. Think about my physics class. But it doesn't stop there. In university, only 19% of students studying engineering and technology-related majors are women. Out of these already low rates, women are 23% more likely to drop out of their course than men. Then comes the workforce, where the numbers shrink even more. As you zoom out even further, the pattern gets worse. Women are nearly absent, not because they aren't talented, passionate, but because at every stage, they've been pushed out, overlooked, or made to feel like they don't belong. Until finally, they hang up their coats. This isn't just about who gets to be in the room, but also about whose needs are considered in decisions being made. Let's take the example of car safety. The most commonly used crash test dummy is 1.77 meters tall, weighs 76 kilograms, and has male muscle mass proportions. It was made to represent the average driver. Here's the issue. The average driver is not just a man. Women are 46% more likely to be seriously injured in a car crash. Not because they drive differently, but because seatbelts and airbags were never designed for their bodies. This isn't just about car safety. It's a pattern that runs through every part of STEM, including the medical world. Heart attack symptoms are often misdiagnosed in women, only because they don't match the classic symptoms, chest pain and arm numbness, which are based on men. Autism is 4 times more likely to be misdiagnosed in women, only because men have been the subject of most research. Even clinical trials for crucial cancer research are tested on male patients 62% more than women. This is why we need women in STEM. Imagine if more women were leading crash safety tests. How many lives could we have saved? Imagine if more women were designing medical studies. How much faster would we find the cure to diseases that affect millions? The lack of women in STEM is a life or death issue. This problem starts early on. Before addressing issues in full-sized cars, we must first look at something as small as Hot Wheels. Biases are present everywhere, even in children's toy stores. Here's what needs to change. Science experiment kits can no longer only be found in the boys section of toy stores. Young girls need to see science being promoted as theirs too, without rebranding a chemistry kit into an educational nail art set. Kinder Eggs and Happy Meal toys can no longer classify mechanical toys as the toys for boys. In addition to overcoming these nudges, women need reachable mentors. Young girls need to see older high school girls studying subjects in STEM. Older high school girls need to meet women in university studying STEM majors. Women in university need to know women with careers in STEM. Opportunities need to be given to everyone, regardless of their gender. Take research grant funding, for example. Only 2% of grant funding goes to women. Only 2%. Take a moment to register that. Don't listen to me right now as a favor to women. Listen to me as a favor to science. Imagine the number of innovations we could have had if gender wasn't a consideration when allocating funds. What breakthroughs have we ignored? What world-changing ideas have been left untapped? I want to innovate. I want to change the world. But then I see the numbers. I realize that no matter how hard I work, no matter how brilliant my ideas are, I will still only be a part of that 2%. Do you know how it feels to be told that your efforts are worth almost nothing? Not because of your talent, not because of your intelligence, but simply because you're a woman? I refuse to accept that. I refuse to let a statistic dictate my worth. I know my value and potential, and I will fight until the world sees it too. This has been a problem for way too long. 50 years from now, we could either see women getting the same opportunities, encouragement, and treatment when entering STEM fields as men. But I fear we'll see another woman up here, hanging up yet another quote. I fear we'll see another woman up here, giving yet another talk about women running out of steam. Thank you.